Welcome to Meeple Mentor. I'm Jared, and we are about to play Brass Birmingham. Let's take a look. I'll show you how. Feel free to pause the video as needed to follow along with your copy of the game. Each player takes the role of entrepreneurs in the Industrial Revolution between 1770 and 1870. Using rails and canals, you'll establish your network of industries across England and use and sell resources in the most efficient way possible. The game takes place in two eras, first the canal era and second the rail era. During each era, players will take turns, taking 2 actions on each turn. Once all cards have been played each era, it triggers the end of that era. A round of scoring happens twice, once after the canal era and once after the rail era. Whoever has the most victory points at the end of the rail era is the winner. The game board and player boards are double-sided, night and day. Choose whichever you like best, as they are functionally identical. Depending on the number of players, sort through the deck of industry cards and remove ones not for your player count. In the bottom corner, you'll see icons with 2, 3, or 4 players. Do the same for these merchant tiles, found at the top. Do the same for the 2 types of wildcards, industry and location. The wildcard decks will sit here, face up on the board. The industry deck will sit here, and the map has the names of the locations with a color-coded banner to help you find them. In a 2-player game, the deck will not have the top areas of the board, the blue and teal. In a 3-player game, just the teal areas are missing. Each player chooses one of the colored sets of tokens, their player board, and takes 17 pounds. Give each person one of the player aid cards as well. The link tiles are double-sided. For the first era, you can only build the canals, and in the second era, you can only build rails. Everyone places the industry tiles matching their color on their own player board. The side of the tiles with the black top half should be face down. Stack the tiles of the same Roman numeral and put them as indicated here. Here's the manufactured goods, 1 through 8. The breweries, 1 through 4. The cotton mills, 1 through 4. Potteries, 1 through 5. Coal mines, 1 through 4. And ironworks, 1 through 4. Deal out, from the industry deck you just created, 8 cards to each player. This is your hand and should be kept secret. Finally, deal 1 face-down card to each player to start their discard pile. Let's take a look at setting up the board. Place each player's victory point token on 0, and the income token here at 10. Randomly place each player's character tiles in these spots to determine the turn order for the first round. Randomly place the merchant tiles face up in each of the market spaces on the board, ignoring markets attached to colored areas not used due to the player count. For each tile that has an image visible, put 1 beer barrel above it. Set up the coal and iron markets by placing the cubes here. Leave these spots empty. In turn order, each player takes 2 actions. The only exception to this rule is the very first turn of the game, when everyone only takes 1. Every time you take an action, you must discard a card from your hand. You can pass an action, but must still discard a card. After your actions are done, draw back up to 8 cards from the draw pile on the board. Once everyone's taken their actions, the round is over. In this game, anytime you pay money, you place it on your character tile. This will determine player order at the beginning of the next round. Whoever spent the least amount of money goes first. Ties will keep their relative position. Rearrange the order of the character tiles on the board for the new turn order. Remove the money and put it back in the general supply. Each player can now collect income. Check the position of your income marker. The money you make depends on the coin number next to your position. It's possible to be in negative income, so you must pay what's shown. If you can't pay, you have to lose one of your industry tiles on the board to collect half its worth. If you can't do that, you lose 1 victory point for each coin that you can't pay back. So what actions are you taking? You have 6 options. First, you can build. You can pay to put one of your industry tiles on the board that you're connected to. For the first turn, you don't have a network yet. There are sometimes symbols shown to the left of certain industry tiles that mean they can only be built during that canal era or the rail era. So, where can you build? We have to take a look at how networks work. Here, you can see my network because my own connection tiles are here. However, since I've connected to my opponent, I can use their connections to build out to new areas. Only one player's link tile can occupy a link between towns. Any town where I have an industry tile or where my link tiles are connected to are considered my network. I can always build anywhere in my network. Since I'm connected to this town, I can build there, but I have to have the named town card in my hand to discard to do it. If I want to build in a town where I already am, or my own link tiles link to, then I don't have to have that named town card. I can instead use just the matching industry card as my discard for that action. For the whole first canal era, each player can only have one of their industry tiles in a single town. Once you get to the rail era, there's no restriction. It is possible to build over your tiles, but it's rare. You can always build over your own tile and discard any tokens to the general supply. If you're overbuilding an opponent's tile, it has to be either a coal mine or ironworks. Additionally, there must be no resources of that type at all on the board, or the map, or the market, anywhere. Remove that overbuilt industry tile from the game. When you build breweries, you place the number of beer barrels on the tile as shown. These 2 spots, the board can only be built on by discarding a brewery industry card or a wild industry card, since they are not found in a town. When you build coal mines, you place the indicated number of coal onto that tile. If you are connected to any merchant when you build a coal mine, you immediately sell that to open spaces in the coal market. You get to collect money from the bank for each coal at a rate next to where it is placed. They get sold to the market like this from top to bottom. When you build ironworks, you also place those tokens on its tile. When you build it, you can immediately sell them to the market if there are open spaces to sell. The rest stay. You do not have to be connected to a merchant to do this. Iron was so plentiful at this time, it was assumed it's always available to sell. The costs of each industry are shown to the left of it. On the right, it shows what's on the back of that tile, which are income and victory points when the tile flips. There's a cost in money and sometimes resources. When you build, you have to build the lowest numbered tier available in that industry. Additionally, the card you discard to build must match where you're trying to build. This action is the only one that the card you select matters. You'll notice locations on the board have specific industries that are allowed to be built there. The ones with a slash could be either, but you can't choose to place one there if a normal one is free in that location. In order to consume coal or iron, you first have to look on the map to see if you are connected to any player's coal mines or ironworks with tokens on it. For coal, take the tokens from the closest coal mine that your tile is connected to in order to fulfill your cost. For iron, you can take its tokens from any ironworks on the board, regardless of connections. Consuming them this way is free. If none are available on the map, you must purchase them from the market. The costs for each one that you take are shown to the left. Consume these from bottom up. Remember to pay any money onto your character tile. Consumed tokens are put back in the supply off the board. Anytime a brewery, coal mine, or ironworks has its last token removed from it, the tile flips over. When it flips, the player who owns it increases their income on the track. You could take the network action. This is how you get your link tiles on the board. You can place them anywhere in your network. During the canal era, the board reminds you that this action lets you build one canal link tile for £3. They can only be placed on the canals. During the rail era, you could build one for £5 and a coal, or build two in one action by paying £15, 2 coal, and consuming a beer from a brewery. If you want to build better industries, you could take the develop action. Discard a card to take any 2 industry tiles off your board from their lowest tiers. Some tiles, like the pottery tiles here, have this symbol, which means they can't be discarded by doing this action. This is a good action to take when you've moved into the rail era, but the lowest tier of an industry you're trying to build shows the canal era only symbol. This allows you to get rid of those so you can build the higher tier levels. If you have been connected to a merchant, you're allowed to take the sell action. To sell your pottery, cotton, or manufactured goods, the merchant you're connected to must have that type printed on it. When taking the sell action, you're allowed to sell all your possible industries one at a time as one action. Each good tile you're selling shows you how many barrels of beer must be consumed in order to sell it. You can always consume your own beer, no matter the connections. The beer is removed and put back to the supply off the board. You can consume opponent's beer if you are connected to it. You may also choose to consume the beer at the merchant that you're selling to. This is a good option because by doing so, you also get the associated bonus. Here you would get 4 victory points. Here you can take a free develop action, but only discard 1 tile instead of 2. Here you'll increase your income by 2, and here you'll get $5. And here you'll get 3 victory points. To finish selling the good tile, you flip it over. You immediately increase your income according to what's printed on it. Another action is taking a loan. Take £30 from the bank to your supply. Then move your income marker backwards 3 income levels, not spaces. Loans don't have to be repaid. Lastly, you can take the scout action. Discard 2 additional cards, so 3 total, in order to draw 1 wild industry and 1 wild location card. These can be used to pay for buildings and count as any industry or any location. If you have a wild card in your hand, you cannot take this action. When you spend wild cards, they go back to the wild card deck on the board. Once all cards have been played, the era you are in will end. Each player picks up and scores their link tiles like this. Flipped industry tiles show a number of link symbols on them. Merchants as well have 2 link symbols printed on the board next to them. Each link tile will score 1 victory point for every link symbol shown at each location it's connected to. It doesn't matter whose tiles they belong to, the link tiles are all removed and given back to the player for use in the next era. Next, each player scores the printed victory point number shown on all their flipped industry tiles. In the Canal era, all Tier 1 industries are now removed from the game board, and beer barrels are refilled at merchant locations just like the beginning of the game. Combine all players' discard piles together and shuffle to create the deck to use for the Rail era. Deal out 8 cards again to each player. The end of the game is triggered once all the cards have been played at the end of the Rail era. Go through the end of era scoring like you did in the Canal era. Do not collect income at the end of the final round of the game. The player with the most victory points is the winner. Ties are broken first by highest income and then by money remaining. I recommend looking at the tips and variants page on the back of the rulebook. The things to remember section and beginner tips are all particularly useful in your first game. Keep the rulebook handy and check BoardGameGeek.com for FAQs and extra content. Check the video description for links to Board Game Geek, Top Shelf Gamer for token upgrades, SleeveKings.com for a 10% off coupon on card sleeves, and Mr. Meeple t-shirts for cool board gaming t-shirts. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you found this teaching helpful. Stick around to watch another Learn to Play video. See you next time.